Welcome back to Arc Tutorials. This is React.js full tutorial series for absolute beginners. In the last episode, I covered all the lifecycle methods that are used in class component. That is, if you join a project which is already written over a few years, you would see class components, you would see the lifecycle methods, etc. But if you join a project which is kind of getting started or recently built, you would see functional components and you will see a lot of hooks inside them. So this episode will help you clear your fundamentals about hooks, and as we progress in the series from next episode onwards, we are going to deep dive into each of the hook independently. That being said, I have set the context of hooks. Let's get started. This is part 22 of the series. If you have missed out on the previous episodes, make sure that you go through them, especially the class component, functional components, um, also the lifecycle methods that will really help you brush up the concepts. Today we are learning all about React hooks. React hooks have revolutionized how React components are written. They make it much easier to create a reusable and maintainable code in functional components. React hooks will provide a more straightforward way to manage state and side effects. React hooks were introduced in React 16.8 version onwards to add state and lifecycle features to functional components. If you think lifecycle methods were complex, think that it has been made easy using hooks inside the functional components. React hooks allows functional components to manage state and side effects. Some of the popular hooks that you will come across or use on a day-to-day basis would be useState. Now useState allows us to add local component state to functional components. It will return an array with current state value and a function to update it. Again, I'm covering the theory, but don't worry, we will do all the practicals in detail. For today, understand the different types of hooks. The second hook that you will see is useEffect. UseEffect enables side effects in functional components. Using useEffect, we can replace the methods like component did mount, component did update, component will unmount. You don't need to implement those methods. You can just use useEffect hook. We can also create custom hooks. Remember, the only criteria is that custom hooks should always start with the word use. For example, you can say use and say update loan status, etc. Then you have use context hook. Now use context allows functional components to consume context values provided by a context.provider. Then you have use reducer. Now reducer is another way through which you can manage more complex kind of a states. But the most common one is the use state. Alternatively, you can also use reducer hook. The next is use ref. Now this provides an easy and fastest way to interact with DOM elements directly. Let's say you're working on input fields, focus control, validations, etc. You can use the use ref. Using other hooks like use memo, use callback, we can optimize the performance of functional components. Remember some ground rules of hooks. Hooks should be called at the top level of a function component. Hooks should be called in the same order on every render. Now with hooks you can avoid using class components for many use cases. So now you can directly write functional components instead of class components. With hooks, the state management, which is considered to be kind of a tricky, complex for beginners, is simplified. Okay. Now hooks can work in both React Native as well as in the concurrent mode in React applications. Okay, that's the theory that you should be knowing about hooks before we actually start writing hooks and start implementing them. I hope this gives you a good introduction and starting point for learning. In the next episode, we will learn how to use the useState hook, and then we'll progress to use other hooks also. Please do show me some love. Please do like, share, and subscribe my channel. As always, if you have any questions, doubts, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.